War Eagle War Rapport family, I'm your host, C Dub. The hottest thing in Auburn right now is its baseball team. Auburn is one win away from going to Omaha, and the guys are here to discuss that, as well as NIL and then some in today's Weekend Report.
You are now listening to a War Rapport Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by
Athletic Architect.
It's your boy, I Jones. Be Will, C-Dog, Mike G. Get ready, sit on back as we bring you the War Rapport Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is I, C-Dub, joined by Ike Jones and B. Will. Mike G has the day off, so B. Will won't have anyone to really argue with, but he is still here in the flesh.
I got you, B. Will, man. We could argue, bro. Whatever you want to argue about, man. Let's do it, bro.
It don't hit the same, though. But do your best. Do your best. We definitely want to welcome you to the latest Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by show sponsor Athletic Architects. Guys, whether you are a student athlete, parent of a student athlete, or looking to start an LLC of your own, please be sure to visit them at buildthehouse.com. They do a great job of empowering student athletes and helping them to help prepare them for future financial success. Shout out to them for coming on board and being our show sponsor. Also, guys, we definitely appreciate you hanging out with us this lovely Sunday, whether you're watching us on replay or if you're watching live with us. We see you guys in the comment section and watching live with us. We appreciate it. Do us a favor. You know what I'm about to ask. Share this video on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter. Share it using hashtag #GetYourWeightUp. Help people to find our content. Help us to grow our community. Please be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. I tell the people why it is so important to become a patron in the off season, sir.
Well, you know, off-season content is something that everybody struggles with if you're not the War Rapport, because we are coming with it full force. $5.99 is what gets you to patron level. You want to go ahead and get on top of that, because as we start to do more of these film breakdowns coming into the football season, those are going to be patron only. We already have the film breakdown live with Coach Harsin. We've got some more film breakdowns coming for you. $5.99 gets you to patron level. But if you are a member, then you know you get advanced access to all of this content that we are putting out here for you. We already have the Al Borges interview that is live for members. That will be going live for everyone coming up this Thursday. But members, you get the next installment of Building Rapport, and that is with tight end John Samuel Shenker. He came and joined us for a conversation. So Building Rapport with John Samuel Shenker will be going live tomorrow for our members. So you all, again, get that advanced access. If you are a member, $5.99 is what gets you to patron level. $3.99 per month gets you to supporter level. Everybody who's a member gets it. Just so everyone knows, if you have an iPhone, for whatever reason, they do charge you $1 more for iPhones, because they have this whole iPhone share thing that they got to do with the revenue. So you do have to pay $1 more if you join via your iPhone. But if you join via the web and then you log into your YouTube app, your membership benefits will transfer over. So make sure you do that. And of course, we're always going with our sponsor, with our partner, the Lee County Humane Society, to be able to hashtag save all the puppies. That is something that we're always doing. So check that out in our about section. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments if you want to get a War Rapport mug that is sponsored by our friends at GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We will be drawing for that later on today. And y'all make sure y'all get in on that.
Guys, y'all doing all right today? Start with you, Ike. You doing good, sir?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. Other than this, this old man situation I got over here with my back. I was telling C before, my niece had a birthday party yesterday, and I was running around chasing people trying to throw water balloons at little kids because I'm a menace like that. And my back reminded me how old I was, and so I had to promptly sit down. So other than my back pain, everything is good. Yeah,
the kids didn't give it, but my back.
Yeah,
that got me.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Be how you, sir?
Man, I'm great, man. I'm great. Got got to go to a brand new park down here with my oldest son, man. It was cool running around in the blazing heat as my energy was drained from me. All right. But I do it because I love my son. That's why I do it. Blazing heat, sweat dripping. Couldn't even think. It wasn't that bad. I'm being dramatic. But it was hot. It was hot outside. But yeah, it's been a good weekend, though.
Well, listen, we're in the middle of a really good weekend in terms of Auburn athletics, guys. Auburn baseball. If you happen to be up late last night, I don't know if you were sleep deprived or
you had to be up late if you were watching that game.
Yeah, I happened to be because I had nothing else to do. Sleep obviously was not an option for me. But we watched Auburn open up with a win against Oregon State in the Super Regional. Auburn at one point was leading, guys, 2-0 going into the bottom of the first, where it got kind of tough for Auburn. Trace Bright gave up 4 runs and ended up not even finishing that inning. And so it looked like it was going to be tough for the guys. But they brought in a walk-on freshman, John Armstrong, who actually was able to get Auburn out of that inning, actually left 2 runners on bases, left them stranded. And from there, the story of the game surrounded Auburn's bullpen. They didn't allow another run until the 9th inning. From there, you got guys like Tommy Sheehan, Carson Skipper, who basically pitched shutouts. They allowed a few hits here and there, but they pitched some shutouts. And so an amazing game. I think one of the things I actually got on because, we have a challenge. Jazzy issued a challenge to me on Twitter. And so I hopped on late to just see how are we doing? How are we doing with this challenge? Because the challenge was Auburn had to score a run in at least 4 innings. And by the time I jumped on, we had already done that. But we scored one in the 7th inning on an error, which actually really gave us a lot of cushion going into the later innings. And so a good game. Auburn had 10 hits, 7 runs. 4 of those runs came in the first 2 innings. So again, they started off hot, just like they've been this postseason. Ike, I'm gonna ask you this because they play again tonight. I believe it's 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Central Time. I think that's right. 9 o'clock. And so, can Auburn's bats stay hot enough to get another win against Oregon State in the next tonight or tomorrow? How do you feel about how Auburn has been doing in terms of hitting? Again, this is their lowest score since the postseason started. They've been scoring ridiculous points against teams. Do you feel like they are hot enough to get us another dub?
Yeah, I think Auburn's been pretty consistent throughout the season. They had a little slump getting close to the end of the season with hitting, but pretty consistent all season with being able to generate points. And I think we're in the right realm for it right now to continue to do that. What I'm really just happy about is how well the pitching has been, right? Like for all of the runs we've been scoring, we haven't been surrendering a ton of runs, so it hasn't been a situation where we needed 20 points to win the baseball game, but we got them anyway. But man, if the pitching continues, especially the middle relief continues to be this good, it's going to be really tough to beat Auburn, man. Like, it's just going to be really tough to beat them. I think that Oregon State has been traditionally a good pitching team throughout the season. So I don't know that we can be, to the level where we were last night as far as runs generated. But if we continue to be able to be as good defensively, it won't matter. We can still walk away with a victory. 7-5 is a good win. And I think we can get away with getting, a 5-3 out of it, type of situation. But the question was, can we continue to hit this well? I don't expect another double-digit situation against Oregon State, but I do think that we'll get enough generated to be able to get out of this series. Will that happen tonight? I'm not sure, but I think we can definitely win the series if the pitching stays where it needs to be.
And just something to note, their starting pitcher did not play last night. He was supposed to start, but fell ill yesterday. And their hope is that he's able to go tonight. And so it'll be interesting to see how we do against him as it pertains to their pitching. Hopefully, I think our best pitcher or one of our better pitchers is starting tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see if it's a defensive struggle or not, or if Auburn still picks up where it left off in terms of how it's been hitting. So, B. Will, your thoughts on the question posed to Ike about how hot Auburn has been in terms of hitting, or as well as how they did pitching yesterday?
Well, I think the hitting is most impressive because that's really what's going to carry you through a potential College World Series championship. The hitting, there's this point in a season where we're kind of seeing this with the Braves right now, right? They came off that World Series run, they won it, and here they are. They were actually terrible to start the season. I think they were sitting at 13-17 or something like that. And all of a sudden, they have one of those behind closed doors meetings, and they go, "Hey, y'all remember that we're great, right?" And they go, "Oh yeah." And then they reel off 10 straight. And the offensive output we saw from Auburn during the regular season, it's hard to sustain over a long period of time. It is very difficult to sustain hot hitting, or in basketball, a hot run. I mean, we can harken this in a lot of different ways. The 2016 Warriors, it's not that they weren't a fantastically great team. It's that they spent their peak mid-season, and then they struggled down the stretch playing hard playoff series, and they didn't have the gas to finish it out at the end. Injuries pile up, but that's what happens when you're pushing really, really hard over a very long season. In college, it's not too different. You can kind of push to have the best record. You can win all these games, but you've got to have something in the tank. I think it may have been a blessing in disguise that this team started to tail off a little bit at the end of the regular season, because it allowed them to go, wait a minute. We're great, right? We are great. That's right. Which is why you very rarely see the best regular season baseball team, I'm talking pros right now, win the World Series title. As a matter of fact, I caught this little Sports Illustrated note that says since 1969, only 12 teams had the best record and won the World Series. That's like 50 something years, and it's happened 12 times. Momentum, kind of everybody hitting on cylinders, hitting on the same all cylinders at the same time, but also kind of remembering, like, wait a minute, we're great. It's like getting into form early is good because you realize that you can do it, and sustaining it is difficult. But you get a little break, the postseason starts, and then you kind of have the motivation, like, wait a minute, all that stuff is wiped away. The last week or two of the regular season, it's wiped away. We have our shot right now to win a World Series. And you know what? I remember us being great this year. If those bats stay hot like this, there's nobody we can't beat. Yeah. Now, they figured that Oregon State would stand a bigger challenge because, like C said, I think his name is Cooper. I do not know how to pronounce this man's last name. Hjerpe. Y'all guess as good as mine, so I'm gonna call him Coop. So Coop was one of the top 2 or 3 pitchers in the nation in college this year. I'm not gonna act like it's not significant that you have a pitcher that had been pitching that well over the entire season just all of a sudden not play. I mean, this was kind of last minute. He was slated to start, right, as far as everybody knew, and then he didn't. I don't know what that means for us. I mean, they're speculating on whether or not he could start today. We need to see our bats, the best, as good as our bats are swinging right now, against the best pitcher to know what this is like. Now, the best case for us is that we're only going to see this guy one time. So we got one.
Yeah.
Even if you come back dealing heat, if you don't come back this game, that might be it. Because we only need 2, buddy, and we out of there. So for their sake, I'm sure they want to come back. They want him to come back. But I think stealing one after a cross-country trek on Pacific time, I think we had every reason to drop that game. Every reason to drop that game. And I know our pitching kind of faltered early, but that middle relief in the closer, man, they held us down. And there's no reason to believe that under those circumstances, when you're down early 4-2 and having to go to your bullpen early, and you can still hold that out, especially late. Like our hitting we wore on them. if we can do that consistently, and so far we've done it playing Southeastern Louisiana, Florida State, UCLA, granted all at home. So maybe that's why we aren't, then stomp Oregon State out 15-5. But still, man, like that you still have so much working against you right now. I think it's nothing but up. I expect us to win this series because of how we won game one. Even if their ace comes back, that's only one game. They need two. We only need one. I think it's looking up in our favor.
Got a question here. Ethan, appreciate you watching with us, man, and hanging out with us. Does Big Boy hit another dinger? I believe he's talking about the first baseman, Sony, or I think it's Sony or Sonny. Does he hit another one out the park again, guys? How you feeling?
I mean, if they pitch to him, like,
right.
One thing I've liked about, he's been very patient with waiting for, like, he's making them give him pitches to hit for the most part when he's in his at bats. But yeah, it really like, he's one of those guys where if the guys in front of him do well, they have to pitch to him, and basically they need to get people on base and make them pitch to him, because he is doing what he's supposed to do. Now everything isn't out of the park, but he's doing a really great job of just putting the ball in play and allowing for us to get opportunities to advance base runners, or he's getting runs scored. Just because, again, if they have to pitch to him, he's being super patient and he's making them throw strikes to him. And if they mess up and they leave one hanging, yeah, he's definitely going to take one out of there. He's got good power. So, people talking about like the air in Oregon being more whatever and the ball not traveling as far. There was a lot of warning track shots last night that probably would have gotten out of there in Plainsman Park. So I don't know. We can see maybe that was a reason for it not having as much power being shown. But hey, I wouldn't count it against him. Again, if there are base runners on and they have to pitch to him, that puts a lot of pressure on whoever it is pitching to throw strikes. And if you mess up, he's got a good eye. He'll take it out of there.
Indeed. Tosa, he says it's pronounced Jerp-E.
Jerpy. Okay, Jerpy.
Yeah. So
let
me ask you guys this. We've been giving Bruce Pearl a lot of love, rightfully so, with what he has done with Auburn basketball. And it seems like he is becoming sort of a prophet of sorts, because this has been an amazing spring, and it seems like Auburn definitely is becoming what he termed an everything school. For what he's done with Auburn basketball quietly, let's talk about what Butch Thompson has done. Auburn has 2 more games in order to win its 6th berth to the College Baseball World Series, 6th one in program history. Under Thompson, Auburn has been to 3 super regionals in 6 seasons. Another win against Oregon State in this series will send Auburn to Omaha for the 2nd time in 3 full seasons, or 3 full postseasons under Butch Thompson. And I say that because during that time you had 2020 where the season got canceled, obviously, so we don't count that. But I want to start with you. B. Can you talk about just high level the type of job Butch Thompson has done in his short time at Auburn for the baseball program?
I think we got what we thought we were going to get. And that's the big thing. We heard Butch Thompson was coming back this way, coming over from Mississippi State, where they had known how to do a lot of winning. And this is what you pay for. This is what you pay for. This is why you pony up and you say, that coach, I want that guy. I think much like Bruce's first few years here, we thought it would happen sooner. I expected it last year, honestly. This is the season I expected last year. But it really doesn't matter when it happens, as long as you see progression along the way. And we definitely saw that progression along the way. And that's the biggest part of this is we seem to have done a better job going, okay, we can't just hire a guy who will field a respectable team in whatever the sport is and expect to compete. Like, we have to go and get the best guys. We have to support. That's the best way. We have to support these coaches in a way that they feel is appropriate for their vision, because we're going to go and get coaches who have won more than we have won. So we can't just bring them here and then give them our standard of support. We have to bring them here, ask them how they do it, and then support them to that level. And it seems like we've finally done that. It seems to pay dividends in basketball with Bruce. Now, basketball was a little bit of I don't think Bruce was an anomaly because he was on the outs because of an NCAA thing, and it was really nothing, honestly. But, barbecue compared to $1 million NIL deals and Aston Martin, I mean, it looks kind of funny in the light right now, considering that's the reason that Bruce was not at Tennessee, and also the reason that we got him here. But it doesn't really matter how it happens or why that guy's on the market. The thing is, you identify the guy, you want him, you get him in here, support him to the level he needs to be supported. Now, I'm not as up to date on what all happened behind the scenes with baseball, the way I know that football has been supported. We see staff filling out on football. We see those tweets going out about those new hires. So we know that they've amped up their game on that side of football. And similarly with basketball, committing to the arena in the first place, with the dedicated facility, not only for them, but for women's basketball, so that men's basketball can have more room, women's basketball can have more room. This is what happens when you get serious about it. And it's not a surprise to me that Butch Thompson has been able to get us to this point, because this is what we thought Butch Thompson would be able to do. Gym and equestrian was already there. We're kind of on, what's crazy? We're waiting on football. Is that we're waiting. Auburn University is waiting on football to join the party. And that is wild to say, but yeah, that's where we're at. But I mean, of course, all credit to Bruce, not Bruce, but Butch, because he did it. We thought he could do it. He's doing it. So yes, definitely glad he's here.
Yeah. Ike, same question to you. Like, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts just about the job he's done? And just more importantly, man, what kind of spring this has been for Auburn this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done an admirable job. He's put us in positions to go out there and get into the postseason and have a shot, right? Like, that's really all you want when you're not a premier landing spot for baseball talent, for any talent in any sport. When you're not premier, you need to be able to get to the postseason and then upset some folks or get out there and make people say, oh, well, I like the direction they're going with that program. That's what Bruce Pearl did with Auburn, right? We got into the postseason and then we went out there and started beating people. And they were like, wait a minute, Auburn plays basketball? And now the baseball team is out there making people feel the heat. But I think the thing that has allowed Butch Thompson to get this elevation so quickly is he's done a really great job. We talk about this a lot with football. We talked about it with Bruce Pearl with basketball. He's done a really good job in the transfer portal with talent for this baseball team. That's allowed them to compete immediately while they figure out how to get the recruits in. He's going out and he's finding people from smaller leagues and conferences and letting them come up to the SEC to play big boy ball, as some of the transfers have said. They want to get an opportunity to shine on bigger stages. He's given them that opportunity and they've taken advantage of it. So his use of the transfer portal has been amazing so far, to be able to just supplement what they're doing with recruiting. And I believe that the recruits will start to catch up with that here in the near future. So an admirable job for Coach Thompson to be able to come and put the kind of team together that he's been able to this year. Hopefully we'll see more of that sustained success.
Jazzy, thank you, sir. See, he says, C-Dub for the W, let's go. Yes, Auburn actually scored in 5 innings last night. Don't know if they'll do it again today, but they did it last night. That's what's important. The next time you see them, of course, guys, will be later today, Sunday night, June 12th, at Goff Stadium at Coleman Field, where they will game 2 against Oregon State. You can see that. I believe that's going to be on ESPN or ESPN2, I believe. I think. So definitely want to check that out if you so happen to be up. I know it's a Sunday night, even tougher tonight than it was last night. But we're hoping that the good guys can pull through. and get Auburn to its 6th College World Series appearance. Man, that sounds so good to say. So best of luck to those guys. War Eagle as usual. Guys, we need you to do us a quick favor, okay? Definitely help us out. You already know what to do. Share this video if you haven't already. That helps us out. Like this video. If you're new to our channel, guys, and you're happy to be watching with us, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be alerted when we go live. Let's take time now to pause and acknowledge some of our sponsors.
This edition of the War Report is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial futures, let Athletic Architects help you start to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Definitely thank all the sponsors of the War Rapport. You all can help and do your part in sponsoring the War Rapport, and that's by just becoming a member of the War Rapport. We've got some great things going on. Again, $3.99 for our supporter level, $5.99 for the patron level. Patrons are going to get access to an interview that we have coming up with one John Samuel Shenker. He sat down with us. So if you don't know, we already aired for our members our interview with former Auburn offensive coordinator, and a great conversation that we had with him about his time at Auburn. We had that conversation with him. It's already live for you, Al Borges there. But for our members starting tomorrow, we are going to have John Samuel Shenker. Everybody else, you'll get the Al Borges interview coming up this Thursday. But here's a little quick sneak peek at the conversation that we had with JSS. Brad Bedell, what kind of guy is he in that tight end room?
Sometimes he can be a child. Sometimes I think that's just he's.
Do you guys do anything special to compete or kind of needle each other?
We have what we call embarrassing the unit. It's not really dropping the ball, but it's like if you do something in practice or in a run that's like stupid, and I will say Luke Deal is the only guy that has ever gotten it. So,
and who besides yourself do you think Auburn fans should be looking for to have high productivity from the tight end group?
You know, all the guys are great, but I would say Tyler Fromm is a guy that can go get it. He's tall, lanky, fast.
In your estimation, for what you can see, who's the fastest guy on Auburn's football team?
Okay, Pritchett has been one that's been up there at the top with a lot of people.
That dude has a serious burst.
Are there any Harsonisms that you guys have? Anything that Coach says, if you're up to it, give us your best Harsin impression.
And like normally we say having a great day, and he's like, and he always says this is the best time of the day.
No matter what time of day is?
Yeah, he's like, this is the best time of the day. Yes? He loves yes.
Props to John Samuel Shenker for giving a little time for us to sit down and talk with him. That interview, again, goes live for members tomorrow. We will have Al Borges live for everybody on Thursday. So, guys, just stay tuned to all the things we got going on with the War Rapport. If you want to win a mug today, you need to hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments. We will be doing that drawing here shortly. That's sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. In addition to all the other things we've got going on, we do have our podcast doing things. So make sure that you all are locked in with us on all the podcast platforms so that you can get all of your great other content that we're putting out there. So again, we're not just on YouTube. We are the Auburn Express on the podcast platforms, and we're talking a little something over there in all of those different places. So you guys make sure that you lock in with that. In addition, man, you already know Athletic Architects is one of our sponsors, the sponsor of the War Rapport today. So just a little quick word from them before we get back into this great Auburn sports content.
This edition of the War Report is made possible by our generous sponsors. Young athletes need the tools for success on the field and on the court. and now more than ever, in the arena of business. In the new era of name, image, and likeness, Athletic Architects is here for young athletes and parents to help prepare for your financial futures. Let Athletic Architects start helping you build your house. Visit buildthehouse.com and let's build.
Yeah.
Definitely want to shout them out. Thanks for being show sponsor. Guess let's get to a few comments, some questions we have. Starting with Jazzy Joe. Appreciate you being on with us, sir. Do y'all think the success of all of the other sports has put major pressure on Harsin to be successful in our main sport?
I mean, I don't know how much, if we're going on a scale of how much additional pressure it puts on him, I don't know. I mean, I think the pressure is just always high as the head football coach of Auburn. I think that fans want the crown jewel of the athletic department. And that's not my words. That is the words of Auburn athletic director, A.D. Green, said that when we interviewed him. That's a shameless plug for our interview with him. So you guys can go back and watch that. The crown jewel is the football program, right? That's the cash cow. That's the one. And so, yes, I think fans want to see the success, but I don't know that there's any additional pressure on him. I just think that fans are probably looking around like, all right, man, we just need to be good in football. So because they want to be able to talk junk about the program that they care the most about.
Right.
Like talking junk to fans, of other people about, or bragging on baseball and basketball and gymnastics and equestrian. That's cool, right? Like, you like to be able to talk junk, but you really, really want to talk junk about football because that's the one that your arch rival is good in. So you want to go up there and beat them down. The Deep South's oldest rivalry is a football rivalry. You want to be able to talk junk there. So I think fans are probably a little more anxious than the coach is, just because that pressure is going to be there anyway. You just can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Thoughts, B?
Yeah, same. I mean, I and Harsin in particular probably has enough pressure. Number one, just the move from Boise to here to prove to everybody else and himself that he can do this job. What happened in the offseason, I think his pressure, if whatever pressure there is, I don't think it's coming from other sports. It's coming from him and what success here would mean for him personally as vindication of the naysayers, and to get Auburn back where it could be to justify himself as a head coach. I think that's all the pressure he needs. Honestly, it might buy him some time, because if Auburn Athletics is raking in some extra dollar from some championship appearances on TV, then maybe football being bad won't be quite the black hole or the void for the athletic department that it would have been in years past. So not that bad is necessarily what he wants to be. Of course, we don't want bad. We don't want 3-9 ever again. But when football is the only show in town and you go 3-9, that's way different than having a basketball team that could be in the tournament for a long time, a baseball team that could be in the College World Series, gymnastics being in the Final Four. Like, everything else going means you're getting money that used to be football is the only program that can print it. And now you've got 3 or 4 programs that can print it. So it might really be buying him a little bit of time if he needed it. I don't think we'll need it after this year, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's enough pressure as is on Brian Harsin, considering how this year has gone, how prior to spring, how things went. I think the pressure is there. I don't think anything outside of that adds more pressure. And again, to your point, B, this guy wants to prove that he belongs here. This is why he left the comfortable confines of Boise to come to the SEC to prove that he can do it with the big boys. So I think the pressure was already there prior to these other sports having success. But again, you got to also, like Bruce Pearl, like Butch Thompson, it took them some time to get here.
Yeah.
They didn't exactly hit the ground running in year one in their respective programs either. So I would love to see how Harsin's program looks another year or two from now. If he's starting to enjoy the success and he has his fingerprint on the program the way Butch Thompson and Bruce Pearl has theirs on their programs, we may actually see mirrored success, and then we can be that everything school. So that's the hope. That's what I look forward to seeing for sure. Walt asks, or he says, what about those assistant coaches, Buddy and Gabe? Having Hudson is a big difference as well. Thoughts on that, gentlemen?
So Hudson off top, you having Hudson back there. I mean, world championship experience, long career in the pros. I don't think there's any doubt that that's a boon. Walt, you'll have to forgive us because we are the least educated about Auburn baseball of all the sports. So this is a little bit of ignorance on my part, I know, and probably the other guys' part as well, as far as the makeup of that staff and what they're all capable of and what they have accomplished and are accomplishing this season. So that is more ignorance than anything. But I have no doubt that as a coach, if you're Butch Thompson and you've been a part of championship runs, then you know how to build a staff that's going to help get you there. So much credit to all the coaches who are helping us do it right now.
Indeed. Caden Baseball Footage says Auburn has pipelines from various JUCO programs like Samford. But hey, I know you all not baseball guys, so y'all get a pass. Well, listen, thanks for understanding.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we appreciate your kindness.
This time next season, though, we will be educated and caught up.
Yeah, absolutely. War Dam here says Auburn's bullpen wears Chill Boys underwear. Cool AF, and that's why they perform as well as they do, because the boys are cool. Speaking of boys, let's run a quick ad for another sponsor of the War Rapport, Chill Boys.
Treat your boys. Chill Boys underwear is designed for maximum comfort with enough space to keep you cool, calm, and comfortable. Chill Boys underwear will help you keep the boys close, not too close. When the game is on the line, you won't break a sweat with Chill Boys underwear. Whether it's left boy, right boy, or both boys, Chill Boys provides your boys comfort like you never felt. Maximize your chill with Chill Boys.
Shouts out to Chill Boys. Actually, I wore some Chill Boys yesterday, and yes, my boys thanked me. Just felt like sharing that. Anyway, Jazzy, appreciate you again. With this upcoming comment, I think we have to do it, guys.
Yeah, welcome to another Jazzy Challenge.
So we got a 2-in-1 here. Okay. Location challenge. What state am I in for 100? Hint, the city I'm in is an animal. Be Will. Well, let's do the first one first before we move on to the challenge, because you now the pressure's on you for tonight. But what state is Jazzy in?
I don't know what.
I mean, it's got to be New York, bro, because the Buffalo, New York is the only one that makes sense, unless he's in freaking Duck, West Virginia.
All right, Buffalo, New York. But here's the thing. I know so few other states, cities. There could be some animal cities somewhere else. I just don't know.
I mean, there are a lot of them.
Buffalo,
There's a badger.
New York.
There's a badger. Is it Minnesota that has badger?
Why would you ever be in Minnesota? Why not you, Jazzy? You shouldn't be in Minnesota. You should be in Buffalo, New York.
I'm gonna say New York because that's the obvious one, but I'm feeling like that's not it. But I'm gonna say New York.
And then
what are you saying, Ike?
Yeah, I'm gonna just stay with New York. I mean, I could go name another. I mean, I guess since we don't put all of our marbles in the same. But wait a minute, what's the phrase? Marble. Eggs in the same basket is there, whatever. Yes. I'm gonna say Mississippi because there's an alligator, Mississippi. Boom.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to go. I'm gonna probably have to go with that as well, guys. I can't think of any. There's a Beaver, Alaska, but he's not in Alaska anymore.
Not by truck, he's not.
Not by truck. So yeah, we'll go there. We'll go with that. Second part of this, be Will. Does Auburn hit at least 3 homers tonight for $300?
I really need to know if that pitch is going to start because that's kind of important. You're telling me top 3 NCAA pitchers for the year could be your starter or could not, and you don't know. I don't know. I feel like if they knew he was going to start, if he was good enough to start, they would have announced it by now. Which means if he's going to start and it's going to be late decision, that he might not be 100%. So I want to give the home team a little credit for fighting back. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I would love to wrap this up tonight. I'm going to say it's a 3-game series because I want to give a team that has had a lot of success this year a little credit for fighting back at home. I know we would if we ever lost a big game at home. So I'm going to say it's a 3-game series, not a 2-game series. And that they fight back against us tonight and get the W. And they keep our bats in check enough to do that. So I'm going to say no.
Okay. Well, we've already made good on one challenge.
Tell us what he said since he already got it.
It's New York.
It was New York.
He said, yep, New York, but Mike messaged him. So,
okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jazzy.
So we could have all gotten it wrong and still won. Thanks, Mike G. Thanks, Mike G, for being in spirit and on Twitter or texting Jazzy. So Felix asks, how do you guys feel about Auburn football team doing their own podcasts, having access to each of the players and things like that? Is this a real thing or is this just an idea?
No, he's probably talking about the Huddle with Harse podcast.
Huddle with Harse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because we knew about that one. I didn't know about
I'm pretty sure that's what he's talking about is Huddle with Harse podcast. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Good to see you in the chat there, Felix.
Yeah, Felix.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit Wednesday. Was that Wednesday when we discussed this? What day was that when we talked about Harse?
It could have been the
Sunday?
week before. It could have been last Sunday.
Yeah.
So we did talk about this a little bit before. I don't think it's a bad thing. You know, it's a good opportunity for people to get a chance to see the personalities of coaches and players. So any of that stuff that gives you more access to those people is ultimately going to be a good thing. Hopefully they'll have an opportunity to expand that. I think the episode that is live right now, this is a free plug, they're not paying me to do this, is with Coach Cadillac. Caddy, I think, is the one that's up live right now. So they've already done both the offensive and defensive coordinators. That is Keys and brain farts, defensive coordinator Schmedding.
Schmedding.
And then I think Caddy is the one that's live now or just went live this morning. So you guys go check that out. Props to our Auburn coaches for handling that.
So let's get to the second discussion. I'm not sure how long we'll be here, but we'll see how it goes. Guys, you know, we've been talking about NIL a lot this offseason. And we've talked about collectives and how that's worked. We even had brought in a collective at one point to kind of explain NIL, their involvement at Auburn. But something that's starting to become a thing we're seeing is player-led collectives. And last week, pretty much a day after Michigan State announced that they were launching their player-led collective, Auburn football players announced, many through social media, their own collective called the Plains NIL Club. According to Yoke, which is a licensing company that has partnered with the players, roughly 75% of the football team has already signed up to be a part of this collective. All right. So I'm not going to read it all here. You may not be able to see it because of the writing here, but I'm going to put it up here for you guys so that you can see it. This was a statement from the football team, pretty much for the most part. And it basically talks about how the Plains NIL Club is a membership-based community that actually allows fans to access the players. They will have an online community where fans can get on and actually chat with the players and get access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content from all the guys on the team. What's notable here is that the proceeds from this actual club will support every single member of the team who is participating, including everyone will allow us to reach our maximal potential both on and off the field. Beginning in July of 2022, they're going to begin to sell a limited number of Plains NIL Club Access Passes. These digital access passes will be your ticket to the online community and in-person player events that they will host throughout the season. So one of the things people noted that is a positive with this is you have some collectives, though this kind of cuts down on having collectives who, may cut corners or may do things illegally if it's player led. Also, there was a concern about what percentage that collectives get from the money that these players earn through their NIL deals. And so it kind of removes the middleman and may actually help with compliance. But want to get you guys' thoughts initially when you hear about the idea of player-led collectives. Your thoughts on this, B?
So I wonder what led them to the decision to basically bump Auburn football out and go, let's do our own.
Well, Auburn NIL.
Right. Auburn NIL out. It's not okay. I see the reason because how competitive NIL already has been here in the first year where it's active during an off season. And across the country, we've seen very, very significant deals being signed by college athletes, by football players specifically. Unreal deals. The thing that keeps sticking out in my mind is the guy Ewers, the quarterback at Texas, who never played a down for Ohio State, has not played a down for Texas, and he's got an Aston Martin. And usually you had to be making like, $200,000 a year before an Aston Martin. But this kid has an Aston Martin for playing zero football already. The power of the Texas brand, what that position means for any team. And if you are expected to be good for a team, you can come out making bank. And even though I still think that Brian Harston and his staff are going to recruit differently than not only Auburn has recruited in the past, but also differently from most major programs. I don't think they're going to go just checking for stars. I don't think they're going to just check for raw ability. I think they're checking for a combination of potential, which may not be the guy who is the most flashy coming out of high school. I think they're also going to be checking for a willingness to work. They're selling that as part of the program. We're not promising you anything. You're going to come here because we're going to make this the best place for you developmentally. And we're going to prepare you for the next level with the type of football that you're going to be playing, scheme, and all that stuff. And if you are okay with both of those things, you will thrive here, and there will be NIL opportunities available for you, because here it is. I see why you have to do that, because undoubtedly, even though we're not targeting the highest stars, the highest profile players, some of those players, there will be some overlap. Some of the players that we want here that do have that work ethic, that seem to have that potential, who value the family atmosphere down here and the developmental advantage we may be able to give you, will be the highest star and higher profile players. There's bound to be some overlap there at some point, and you got to have something sweet in the pot for them, because it's sure looking sweet everywhere else. So in that sense, I get it. I understand it. I wonder at this point right now what all is going to be offered. If I contribute some money to this collective that targets is almost specifically for the football players, or it is specifically for the football players, what am I getting that I would not have gotten with the previous collective? Are all the other sports going to work through a different collective? How is that going to work for women's basketball and men's basketball and baseball's?
That is a very fair question.
Ratcheting, right? Baseball's ratcheting up here. Are those guys going to get the same type of consideration and and opportunities. And it's not that we don't get it. This is a side we just got through saying, hey, is there less pressure on Brian Harsin? No, there's not less pressure because this is still the most important sport to Auburn University. It does not matter what the other sports are doing. If they're doing great or if they're doing poorly, football is going to be the most important sport of Auburn University. And I can't see in my lifetime that changing. So with that being the case, yeah, I get why you put so much effort there. But man, I wonder how you feel basketball, having had the success you've had in the last few years and going, y'all couldn't put something together for me. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier. It's a lot less of us you have to account for. Put something together for me. We're in the tournament. We're going. Maybe we didn't go as far as everybody expected us to, but we're right back. We got the core back. We're gonna make some noise. Had the number 1 ranking. Won the SEC, either the tournament or the regular season. What, 3 out of the last 5 years? Maybe y'all got something for me. I don't know, man. I'm glad we have to do it to be competitive in football. That's the bottom line. We have to do it. It doesn't have to be our main sell. I think Texas's number 1 sell right now is oil money. Like, that's in bright shining lights. That is what they're selling. And it's working to a certain extent because they got the best offensive line class they've ever had. They got the first, I think, 5-star high school recruit, even though he didn't come from high school. He came from Ohio State, that they've had in a very long time. So yes, it's working. And whether it's the number 1 thing that's going to draw people to your school or not, it's going to be a factor. More factors some places than others. So I get why they got to do it, but I don't know, man. We got to do it. Let's show some love to these other sports and these other athletes too. That's all I'm thinking.
I guess a stupid question here, pardon my ignorance, but you can have more than one collective, right?
Yeah. The collectives are independent entities. And to what B. Will is saying right here, I don't know that Auburn University organizes. I think the players did it themselves.
They did.
Yeah, they went and found a collective unit that was what did you say the name of it was? It was in the clipping you just said.
I don't have it committed to memory, but Yoke.
So Yoke is a company that is out here allowing these players to organize themselves, essentially. But I like it. So here's the thing why it makes a ton of sense for football. It will make sense for other sports who will not be as high profile, and they just need to kind of come together and figure out how they want to do it. But why it makes a ton of sense for football is NIL money through one of the major collectives, or in Auburn's case, Auburn NIL, is going to largely be devoted to the star athletes, because those are the ones that are going to garner more money. And what money that you can make through those collectives is going to be based on, and this is a conversation. Listen, we've had numerous conversations about NIL, but we've tried to help educate you guys about what's going on with the landscape of NIL. Please go back and watch those videos, because this conversation makes a lot more sense when you put all of those things together and you start to piece what's happening. But the conversation we had with Jason Campbell specifically about NIL and how it works is they know what your market value is for what you can be paid via NIL. And that's the market determines that, right? Like, there is a value that's placed on you based upon what your stature is in the sport that you play and how much money you can make off of your NIL check, right? And it's rate limited. Like, you're not going to make more money unless the market says you're worth this amount, and then Auburn NIL will start cutting you larger checks, right? When you have your own collective, you make as much money as you can go out there and essentially raise for yourself. So it's the indie route, right? Like, as a guy who does music, it's the independent route of doing it, right? Rather than signing with a record label, you're going to go out here and you're going to pedal it out of the back of your truck and figure out if there's ways that you can sell your own stuff, and you're going to, do whatever things that you feel like get you exposure on social media and put events together and things like that. It's a little bit more of a hustle. It's a lot more of owning your own business type of thing, but it allows you as a non-star player to go and get money that's not rate limited by what the market dictates as your worth, right? And so this is a great move by a football team specifically, because there's so many guys that are on a football team, right? And so the NIL money that's going to be going to the larger collectives that are run by Auburn NIL or whatever conglomerate of business owners want to put some sort of NIL dollars together, that's a limited pool of money. right? And there has to be a certain level, or there's a bottom tier of entry for participation for just your average fan. I'm assuming that this Plainsman Club, or whatever it's called, is going to be it's going to have a low tier of entry where you can pay maybe $5 a month and be able to get in on little digital stuff, right? Like that will allow them to essentially crowdsource NIL to a better degree and allow more people to be able to eat off of that. The issue still is going to be they have to have a really good marketing arm on this. And this is something I read a little bit about. I think it was Camden Brown was talking about this, because he's a marketing major. He was talking about how the marketing aspect of this is really what's going to be important, is making sure that you market it properly so that you can get the money in, and then you have a bigger pot to be able to
Cameron or Camden?
Cameron. It's Cameron Brown.
Okay.
Excuse me. It was Derek Brown's little brother. He's the marketing major. So he was talking about how the marketing aspect is really important with NIL. These young men, doing this is their first real taste of owning your own business and figuring out how to do it from the ground up. I like it. I like that they're taking the initiative to go out there and do those things. It's just going to be difficult, I think, during football season to really do it the way that you need to do it, unless they figured out how to get a couple of their classmates that come in, the other marketing majors, say, hey, you want to come work for us and do our social media data? Like, they're going to need to put some other things together so that they can focus on playing football, because that NIL collective is only as valuable as the football team is good. You play
and
well,
their execution of this whole ordeal. Because if you're only doing something once every month or two, people may start to lose interest because they do want access to you, right? So I like the idea, especially again for your guys who may not be your more visible players on the team. They have an opportunity to NIL, and again, this helps when you're talking about recruiting, because you can say, hey, there are opportunities. Just talk to our players. They formed an entire collective about it. Right. And so it helps in that regard to the players know that they can be a part and be able to take advantage of it, even if they may not have a lot of stars by their name when they're being recruited.
Right.
So I like the idea of it. And I'm my only concern, and you basically mentioned it, Ike, is I want to see the execution. I think this is true of most collectives anyway, or NIL deals. You hope that it's executed in a way to where everyone gets something out of it. So that's something that remains to be seen. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that goes. I believe it's time, guys. Before we get to the drawing, let me answer a few questions. James Buckley says Jake Phoenix will make the start as Cooper is unavailable due to undisclosed illness.
Do all their pitchers have two consonants to start the last name? What is up with that? For Phoenix, I know it's not for Phoenix, but still, like, that's weird. Okay, so their ace isn't starting again, so this is a great opportunity for them to get that win. Okay.
So, do you want to change your answer, B? That's B Will thinking, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That's how B Will thinks.
I know what? No, I'm not gonna change it. I think that team has to have some pride, man. The Oregon State has to have some pride. I still think we win the series, but you don't get beat at home by a team who traveled a jillion miles out of their depth and lose and get swept. It's not that you can't. I would love it if they did. I'm trying to give them some credit for emotional maturity in that bullpen. So I'm going to say that we stay under 3 home runs.
Did y'all see that the baseball team is having to stay like an hour away from the stadium?
Everything's stacked against them. That's fine.
Yeah, because of, I mean, I don't know what the lodging situation is like close to Beaver Stadium or wherever they're playing. I can't pretend I care about Oregon State baseball. But wherever they're staying is like an hour's drive to get to the games, just because that's the closest place where they could put a hotel that can house that many people at once. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Corvallis.
Gotta love it.
There's nothing in Corvallis, apparently. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, listen. Time to give away something. So hopefully you guys are still around. I've definitely been seeing you guys in the comment section putting up the hashtag Get Your Weight Up. Just in case you are curious, what are we giving away, Ike?
We're giving away a mug. So you can get this mug. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up. We will be doing the drawing here in just a minute. For those that don't know, this is an absolutely random selection, so don't be upset at anybody. Yes, I'm looking at you, Danielle. If you don't actually win something, because we have no actual control over the mechanism for winning. Plus, you didn't actually ask for a mug, so it would be poetic if this is the one that she actually won, and I would get a very healthy chuckle out of that. But hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comments, and we will be giving away this mug, sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Let's get to the get down. 49 entries so far. Who is going to win the mug today? May the odds be forever in your favor.
Oh, I saw Lisa's name.
James Buckley. He's definitely here. He just commented like not even 2 minutes ago. So James, holler at us in the comments.
Let us know. Let us know that you're here, sir.
Yeah. So
and Caden says the hotels were booked due to graduations. That was the issue. No other hotels near the stadium were available for 30 rooms.
They think they sleep. I bet it wasn't even booked. They think they sleep. All right. Touche, Oregon State. Touche.
Yeah, but graduations.
I mean,
and we just don't have room.
There's probably like 4 hotels in Corvallis though. Like again, so it's not like, and they probably are like Motel 6s or something. So they probably only have 15 rooms anyway. I just can't imagine that Corvallis. Like I think about small college towns, right? Like
the hotels that you enter from outside.
Like Auburn. Like how many hotels are actually in Auburn, Alabama?
Okay, so there's a grip because they kind of built like 5 more in the last
recently,
years.
Yes. But like think about when we were in college at Auburn.
All like 4.
Yeah, what I mean.
I imagine Corvallis is something like that. Yeah. Because the money that's coming into the Auburn area is largely due to us having a very affluent campus there that kind of runs that, and then you've got, of course, the hospital that's there in the area that's a major employer. But I don't know. Listen, I'm not gonna pretend I know anything about Corvallis. Let me not talk junk about or the state of Oregon and their small towns. I ain't gonna talk about
it's all right. It's all right. We can talk about them. That's fine.
But I'm pretty sure as James Buckley is here. I'm pretty sure as Jonathan says that they have rooms that you enter from the outside in those hotels. I would wager to say
confident.
Yeah, that's what it's
very.
Is that the line for a worthwhile hotel?
Yes,
if you 100%. Can be outside and walk right into your room.
If it's not beachfront, and you have to, and even with beachfront, you still want to go into a hallway.
Right.
So, like,
a competent lobby and service. Yeah. Okay. I'm remember that from now on.
James, here's what you can do. Please email us business@the-War Rapport. Give us your physical address, and that mug will be coming your way shortly. Congratulations, good sir. I think we got some time to answer a few questions here, guys. So if you have some questions for us, please be sure to throw something in the comments, guys. Steve Bradley says per football. I think you left something out there. Is our roster in better shape this year than last year at this point? I think it is on paper. Remains to be seen once we get on the field, but on paper, I like how our roster looks in year 2. What do you guys think?
You know what? I think whether or not we look good on paper is completely dependent on how you value a name. If you looked and saw Bo Nix on paper last year and Zach Calzada on paper, you thought, oh, clearly Bo Nix is the better quarterback. But I don't think that's true. I think they're more or less neck and neck. And I think Calzada he has a chance to have a higher floor based on what I've seen from both of them. So it depends on how you value these names. I think our roster is in much better shape because of some cementing that happened over the offseason. Between the departures, everybody airing out their laundry, the people who didn't want to be here leaving, the people coming in, knowing what they were getting into as far as the principle and what type of program it was. We're in far better shape, miles better shape. But that's my gut feeling. I know on paper it won't look like 5-star. So people are gonna and have been trying to diminish what this roster could be because they don't see recruiting grades that are high enough compared to our competitors. But I think we're in way better position compared to last year.
Your thoughts, Ike?
I mean, I think that we are in better shape than last year, and I don't know that that's just a roster thing. I just think that we've had more time. Like, had we turned over essentially the exact same roster, I would say that the football team would be in better shape just because we've had more time to learn the system, more time to get acclimated with what we need to be doing just from a culture standpoint. So I think that we would have been in better shape just inherently because of that. But I do think that we've made strides, especially in the area of depth with this team, to solidify some of these rooms to make sure that we are 2 and 3 deep at positions of need. So I'm optimistic about the prospects of this roster. But, you know, to be Will's point, on paper, you can say whatever you want to. The product on the field is yet to be seen. So we'll see. But, you know, I do think that we do have a potential to be a better football team from a roster standpoint right now than we were at this point last year. Yes.
All right. Sean Feely, appreciate you hanging out with us. He says, don't away teams stay in Montgomery when they play Auburn. He says that's about a 40-minute drive.
I have no idea.
I'm not sure.
Teams play when they stay.
I know we used to.
I know Auburn stays away. I know Auburn stays away.
We stay away. I don't know if they still do that or not, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think they've done, if I'm not mistaken, they've stayed in Columbus sometimes, and then they've stayed in Montgomery sometimes, the football team, for home games. So I'm not sure what the away team does. So Jonathan Harris asks, appreciate the super chat. Outside of Zach and Coy, do you see any new transfers starting?
Good question.
If so, who? Now, B, I think you have Robbie as your starter.
I don't think he will. What do I want to see? I want to see whoever's going to be most consistent, and I have no idea whether that will be Calzada or Robbie based on
who do you see though?
I see it's probably Calzada, more experience.
Okay,
it really comes down to that, more experience. But I'm not sure Coy starts. He has one. He's got a one summer workout regimen and one fall camp to catch up to play calling, and I don't know how much of it was buy-in last year, but it did seem like our guys struggled with running this offense. Guys who have been running the spread previously. Now, I don't think Coy came from necessarily a spread offense like what Gus was running here and then transitioning to pro style, but I want to give a little deference to the guys who have been here at least since spring with the playbook, working with the QBs, and think that gives them a start. Now, I'm not saying Coy can't break through. I don't think Coy starts week 1. I do think Zach starts. And if there was any other transfer who had a great chance of starting, I think it might be, and it's solely dependent on what they do on the defensive line. But Jason Jones could start in the middle if they break Marcus Harris or Kobe Woodnot to end a fairly, and I'm saying start as in within the first couple of drives you'll be on the field, because rotation is going to be what it is.
If they're playing a 3-man or a bear front, 5-man front, I think Jason Jones starts at the nose.
Yeah, he's in the middle. Kobe and Marcus Harris on the other sides of him, and then we got Derek Hall and Eku out there on the ends, and that is exactly what I would expect if we're running 3-4. But whether or not we run 3-4 or 4-3 is going to depend on who we're playing. So early as we play these cupcake teams, I think they do some of both just to get a feel for it and adjust that personnel based on what happens. I think Jason Jones would be that guy in the middle if that happens. I think DJ James has a chance to start at corner.
Agreed.
That those are the two though. Those are on the 2 on defense, Zach on offense, but I don't necessarily see more than that.
I think that Eugene Asante has an opportunity to start at linebacker. I think that if we count JUCO transfers, Marquise Gilbert has an opportunity to start at the safety position. I think Craig McDonald has an opportunity to start at one of the safety positions or a slot or nickel back. So yeah, I think that there's a chance, and when we say starting, I mean, by the end of the season, we could see a ton of these guys starting. Like, I think that the other JUCO guy, the cornerback whose name is escaping me right now.
Is it Rhyme?
No, he's a freshman.
You said who now?
The JUCO.
Keontae Scott.
Yes, Keontae Scott, I think, has an opportunity to break into the starting lineup before the end of the season. We've already talked about, again, when we say starting, I think Robbie Ashford's going to get playing time regardless of whether he's the starting quarterback or not. They're going to have opportunities for him to get into the game. So yeah, when you, like I said, it's when you say starter, significant snaps is really what I would want to say, because I think we're going to be rotating a lot of guys in.
Right.
But yeah, so I think all of those players that I just named have an opportunity that are transfers to play significant minutes this season for this football team. So yeah.
Appreciate the question. Exclusive TV asks, do you guys think Imba starts week 1? I don't think he does.
No, I do not.
I think he's too raw. I think he's kind of a development guy. A lot of talent, great size. I think he can really be developed to be a great presence for us and a good player down the road. But starting week 1, no. I think there's a reason why they went into the portal and got a lot of bodies and a lot of guys. They want to play a lot of guys, but I don't expect Imba to be starting week 1. I think it's kind of the guys we've already mentioned for what we were trying to do with Jason Jones, especially, again, depending on our front, really dictates who gets the starting nod. We know who the usual suspects will be based on last year's production, but in terms of new faces, I don't think Imba starts. And how is he, by the way? I haven't heard any reports about him. I know he was injured in spring.
Yeah, I think he's back in getting in there with the guys right now. So I think he's doing okay. But yeah, I'm going to have to agree. Because here's the thing. So he's defensive line. Barring injury, Marcus Harris, Colby Wooden, Jason Jones, Derek Hall, Echo Leota. He's got to take snaps from one of those guys to be a starter, which means and we know for a fact every last one of those people I just named can contribute right now at this level. Jason Jones is the only one who hasn't played an SEC schedule, but he's at least played Power 5 football, and by all accounts, just a big wall in the middle, right?
Right.
So that means that Jeffrey Imba has to flash otherworldly talent to beat out one of those guys to start. Now, if they get in the game, will he contribute? I think so. But week 1 starter, he's got to produce more than a beefed up version of Marcus Harris, another year more talented, experienced Colby Wooden, a monster in Derek Hall, a monster in Echo Leota, and a stalwart in the middle in Jason Jones.
In other words, he has to be the almost second coming, to beat out those guys as a starter.
Physically, he's a freak athlete, right? Like I don't think that the physicality that he's going to bring, it's just going to be, can he get his hands together? Can he understand his assignment on a given play is to crash here? We're going to be running this stunt in this way. Right. Your job is to do this. And this is what they're running as a slide protection. This is how you have to attack that. This is your gap assignment on this. Like, he just got to learn the nuance of playing the position. But from a physical standpoint, he's probably one of the more physically gifted athletes that is going to line up down there.
Right.
But yeah, I don't see him game 1 being in that position to do that. No.
It'd be interesting to see how he looks late October, early November, as he begins to figure out what he's doing. He's able to put it all together with his talent and ability. I think he definitely will be a guy to look forward to in the future in the middle. So definitely, but week 1, I'm not so sure he's there yet or will be there.
I think we have some guaranteed depth for the future with him. I think because Kobe Wooden and Marcus Harris, I don't think anybody was going to jump those guys, honestly.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean,
they weren't.
Listen, I think I don't know if I said this on a lie. I know I told you guys. I went trying to cut up film to do a film review when I was doing something on the draft for the football players. I went trying to look for film on Tony Fair, right? Because he was draft eligible. I went trying to look up Tony Fair film, and over and over and over again, I was like, "Who did that? Who was doing that?" 9 times out of 10, you know what name I said?
Marcus Harris.
Kobe Wooden.
Okay.
Kobe Wooden was everywhere, bro. I was like, "Oh my God, he is a problem up here, dog." Like, Kobe Wooden is so good. Like, I don't think he's
graded out amazingly last year.
I don't think he's getting, like, when you see these lists about who's going to be preseason all SEC, I don't know. I don't know if they've done all defensive teams. Kobe Wooden was out there flashing over and over again on the tape, man. I was like, good Lord, this dude is a problem.
Yeah.
He is a problem on the defensive line, man. I am looking for him to have an amazing season this year. If he doesn't, then that means that they saw what I saw on tape, and they were like, okay, we're going to double team this dude, and we're going to send it back to Chip Adam, all this type of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Lance Bailey asks, do you see the offense scoring 40 plus a game on average?
No.
I don't know.
We did this.
That would be awesome.
We did this in a facts or not question about 30 plus in the week in the first month, right?
Yes.
What it was. I could see that happening. 40 plus per game on average through the entirety of the season.
That's a lot.
Listen, man.
Listen, if Auburn did that,
we're going to the national championship if we do that. That's listen. I will say that right. We will be going to the national title game if Auburn scores 40 points. This defense is going to be that good.
Yeah,
so we score 40 a game on average.
Yeah.
That either means that we lost 2 games where we just completely fell apart on offense or fell apart on defense, or our defense is just no good. Like, I just don't see us scoring 40 points per game on average and not being a national title contending team with the way I think this defense is going to be.
Yeah.
Right. Man. Unless we just have something dramatic happen.
Right. As we have to fall apart defensively to not go to the national championship game with that kind of productivity.
In fact, I think you really get to see how good our defense really is if you're scoring 40 plus points a game, because again, they're not out there a lot because you're just the offense.
Unless it's
taking
just a
the
bunch
field.
of like home runs, like they just scoring from 80 yards out over and over again. And it's like, oh man, shoot 2 plays, 80-yard drive. All right, defense, get back out there. Like, yeah. I don't know, bro. Like, that's gonna be crazy.
Hey,
listen, you gotta think about this though. Defenses in the SEC, right? You still got to play Texas A&M. And I just don't think that defense is going to be bad. Still got to play
lost
Georgia.
Their DC, though.
They did lose their DC, and they lost a lot of starters. Same thing with Georgia. They lost a lot of starters. I just think that talent-wise, both of those teams are still going to have good defenses just because they've had talented defenses, and you don't just get bad even if you lose starters when you have that much talent on your team.
Right. Because the guys who will be starting now were playing last year, even if they were not starting.
Correct. So those are going to be 2 tough defenses we're going to face. I don't expect Alabama to be as bad defensively this year as they were last. I think they've got a little bit more experience in the back end because their secondary was very suspect. They've always had, a good front 7. They're going to continue to have that, and they're going to be monsters in the pass rush game this season, like monsters in the pass rush game. So Bama's going to be a team that you're going to have a tough time scoring big points against unless you can have a solidified run game to balance that out. So that's 3 games where if you score 40 in those games, you've done a lot. Like, if we could, again, you got to score a lot of points in a bunch of other games to have a 40 point per game average when you have those 3 teams on your schedule. Mississippi State's defense is going to be decent. Like,
I don't know when, but Mississippi State has been really good defensively for like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering when in the hell that happened through 2 different coaches.
Yeah.
Well,
actually threw some money before
they started. It was under Dan Mullen where their defense started to
Yeah.
get really good. Ironically enough, like their defense started because they started having really good linebacker play. At Mississippi State, and so from there they just became a kind of a really kind of tough team defensively, and it's kind of carried on to now, even under Leach. So
somehow we've managed to put up points against their defense, but if you look at their defense statistically, they've actually been pretty decent like you said, the last few years. So there's that, and then I just in my mind can't imagine LSU is going to continue to be this bad. And so I expect it to be,
to be some improvement there.
Yeah, I expect their defense to have some improvement. All that to say, not saying we can't score points, but 40 plus on average means you're putting up some really big numbers against some people in order to bring your average up over 40.
That means we got to be like 45, 50 pointing the Mizzous and the
LSUs for sure,
and the Ole Misses, and then
we can't just be 45, 50. It's got to be like 60 on those guys. We got to put 60 on the cupcakes, 50 something
30,
on. Yeah, we got to put. Yeah, we got to put like 30s up consistently, 50 plus on everybody else, and then you have a couple of
because again, good luck scoring 30 on Georgia.
No matter what year it is,
right. Good luck doing that. So those are going to be games that's going to definitely bring your average down based off of that game alone. So you're going to need some high production in some of these cupcakes or games that against teams that don't have good defenses to be able to have that type of an average, which means your offense is humming throughout the season. Which again, that's where we want to get to. I want to see it, but this is just year 2, and our offense last time our offense has been potent has been almost 5 years ago?
2017. Yes. That was the last time our offense was worth anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, what was our points per game average that season? It wasn't 40.
It wasn't 40.
It wasn't 40. No.
It wasn't 40. But I'm saying that was the last time our offense was like
we could count
that
on being
competent
able to put up points.
Yeah. So that's so when you like that puts it into perspective, right? So when you talk about averaging 40 plus, the last offense we had that was really good didn't average that, and it got us to the SEC championship game, albeit without one of our best players on offense. But
so I just looked up the stats from last season. There were only 4 teams that averaged more or 40 points per game or more last year.
Western Kentucky.
They were number 2. Ohio State, Western Kentucky, Wake Forest, and Coastal Carolina.
Wake Forest makes sense. Coastal Carolina makes sense too. Okay.
Now, Bama just missed it. They had 39 points per game. Pittsburgh scored 38. Tennessee had 37, and Georgia had 37. South Methodist with 36, and then to round out the top 10, UCLA at 36. But my point is that it was only 4 teams that were able to do that last year in all of college football.
Yeah, that won't be us.
That's tough. That's tough.
Even if everything goes right for us, I still don't think we have the quarterback and wide receivers in them as a unit, combined with offensive line, both skill and experience, to be able to put that up. That's not how we're built, and that's not how we're gonna thrive. We would thrive as a ball control team. So even if we are dominating, it wouldn't look like 40 to 17. It would look, I
think we have a chance to get to maybe 30 plus per game on average. Last year we averaged 25 a game, so I don't think 30 per game is out of the question. Still at high, that's still gonna be a tough task. I mean, you think to yourself, that's only another touchdown per game. It's not like touchdowns ain't, you don't just manufacture them Jones. Like, you got to actually go out there and work for them. So I think it's possible to get to above 30, but above 40. If we are scoring 40 points per game, pencil us in for the college football playoff right now.
For real.
Seriously. But would love to see it. Guys, you got anything else?
Nah, man.
I think we didn't. There's one more ad we did not get to do. I definitely want to take time to shout out Rogue Shop. Some of you guys have been wilding in the comment section, talking about gummies. Let's take time to show love to one of our sponsors, Rogue Shop.
This episode of the War Rapport is brought to you in part by Rogue Shop. Looking to reduce stress or improve your quality of sleep? Rogue Shop has you covered with a wide range of premium products, including gummies, bath salts, and oils. Go to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT when you check out. That way, they know we sent you. All right?
Definitely check out our friends at the Rogue Shop. I am going to go and get some Rogue Shop pain relief for this back of mine, since I was out here chasing around kids, hitting them with water balloons yesterday and acting as if I am not 40 years old. But if you want to support us, you can definitely do that. Supporter level is $3.99 per month, $5.99 per month for the patron level. Unless you are doing it from an iPhone, it will be $1 more from there, just because iPhone is who they are. No shade to them at all, because we want them to come sponsor us. Tim Cook, holla at us.
Yeah, Tim Cook. We need NIL.
John Samuel Shenker will be live tomorrow for all of our members of the War Rapport. You can go check out that interview starting tomorrow here on the War Rapport channel. We appreciate all of our sponsors all of our members for getting on board with that. If you didn't get an opportunity to win something today, you can check us out on our merch store and go and purchase something. TheWarRapport.com is where you can go to do that. Make sure that you are also locking in with us on your podcast. It's the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport, bringing you some fresh content there that is podcast exclusive, as well as if you want to hear stuff like this, our conversations being rebroadcast in audio format, we have those going live for you there on podcast. So make sure that you are doing that. And we appreciate everybody for continuing to stay locked in with the War Rapport. As always, love y'all so much.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Sunday. Before you get out of here, you already know what to do. Share this video, guys. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you are on social media, please be sure to share this. Use the hashtag, help people to find our content. Smash the like button, guys, before you get out of here. And if you're new to our channel, you already know what to do. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell where you're alerted whenever we go live. Now, if you want to hang out with us on social media, we're posting content throughout the week. IG, Twitter, it's at The War Rapport. We are TW Rapport on TikTok. That's it for now, guys, but we definitely have great content this week. So we look forward to seeing you guys, and we will see you on Wednesday for the midweek report. But until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.